Have you ever noticed that the most beautiful women, the ones every man secretly desires, and the wealthiest men, the ones every man secretly envies, often walk through life alone? Let that sink in, because right now, someone watching this is chasing beauty they'll never touch, or wealth they'll never hold, believing it will fix the emptiness inside. And yet, the people who already have those things, the ones sitting at the very top of the food chain, are quietly battling the same loneliness you are. Doesn't that disturb you? You were taught to believe beauty guarantees love, and money guarantees loyalty. But reality spits on that belief. The truth is colder, and it's going to sting. The woman with the flawless body, the perfect smile, the thousands of men flooding her DMs, lies awake at night asking herself, does anyone actually want me? Or do they just want the idea of me? And the rich man with the empire, the cars, the house by the ocean. He stares into his glass of whiskey wondering, if I lost it all, who would stay? These are not shallow concerns. They are the hidden questions no one dares to ask out loud. Because if beauty and wealth can't secure love, then what can? Society doesn't want you to know this. You're told to chase, to hustle, to sculpt yourself into the fantasy version of success. But here's the harsh paradox. The closer you get to being unreachable, the harder it becomes for anyone to genuinely reach you. The pedestal that beauty and wealth place you on is also the prison that isolates you. People project their fantasies onto you, but almost no one sees the human being inside. And loneliness doesn't care how perfect your life looks on Instagram. So let me ask you something. If the hot girl and the rich man are both secretly starving for connection, why do you still believe those things will fill your hunger? What if you've been chasing the wrong prize your entire life? What if the very thing you envy is the very thing that destroys people from the inside out? The reason hot girls and rich men stay single isn't because they can't attract people. It's because they can't filter out the wrong ones. Attraction is easy. Genuine connection, that's rare. When a man meets a beautiful woman, his mind fills in the blanks with fantasy. He assumes she must be nurturing, loyal, loving. He doesn't see her. He sees the projection of what he hopes she will be. And when a woman meets a wealthy man, she does the same. She imagines safety, status, power. She doesn't see the man. She sees what his lifestyle could do for hers. And when both sides are living inside someone else's illusion, how can they ever feel truly loved? This is the tragedy. People chase them not for who they are, but for what they represent. For a hot girl, every smile she gives is second-guessed. Does he like her? Or does he just want to show her off like a trophy? For a rich man, every touch is measured. Does she care about him? Or does she care about his lifestyle? That constant doubt eats at them until trust rots away. And without trust, relationships are nothing but temporary performances. Now imagine living in that cage. Imagine not knowing if your partner's "I love you" is real, or just a strategy. Imagine every compliment feeling like manipulation, every kiss carrying the weight of suspicion. That's not romance. That's war disguised as intimacy. And most people couldn't handle that kind of pressure. So what do the beautiful and the wealthy do? They build walls. They keep things casual. They distance themselves before someone gets too close, because the fear of betrayal becomes greater than the hope of love. You, watching this, may not have their beauty or their wealth, but you share the same risk. Every time you put something unreal at the center of your value, you attract people chasing that thing instead of your soul. If you lead with money, you'll get users. If you lead with looks, you'll get lust. And if you think that's enough to hold a relationship, you will end up just as lonely as the people you envy. So ask yourself, are you becoming the kind of man who is loved for who he is or for what he provides? Because the answer to that question will decide whether you build a life of connection or a life of silent isolation. Here's what nobody tells you. Being desired by many often means being truly known by none. A hot girl's beauty creates a spotlight so blinding that most men never bother to look past it. They want the surface, not the substance. And for the rich man, his wealth creates a shield so thick that women orbit him like moths to a flame, but rarely care about the fire burning within. To the outside world, it looks like they're winning, but behind closed doors, they feel invisible. And invisibility in the middle of attention, that's the loneliest place of all. Think about it. When was the last time someone wanted you just for you? No filters, no expectations, no hidden agendas. For the hot girl, men don't ask about her fears, her dreams, or the pressure of living up to beauty that fades with every passing year. For the rich man, women rarely ask about the stress, the sleepless nights, or the crushing burden of maintaining the lifestyle that everyone else takes for granted. They are praised for what they have, but starved for who they are. And when people only value your mask, you start to wonder if you even exist without it. This is why so many of them withdraw. They date casually, they keep options open, they dabble in situationships instead of real commitment. Not because they don't want love, but because love feels like the riskiest gamble in the world. Imagine sitting on a throne, surrounded by admirers, yet knowing in your bones that if the throne disappeared, so would they. That fear is paralyzing. So they protect themselves by staying single. It's not rejection of love, it's rejection of betrayal disguised as love. Now, here's where it cuts deep for you. If you've ever felt overlooked, unappreciated, or used, you already know their pain. You just experience it on a smaller scale. But understand this. When you idealize someone only for their beauty or wealth, you are unconsciously contributing to their loneliness. You're reinforcing the belief that they will never be loved for who they are. And in return, you're training yourself to chase people for shallow reasons, which is why your connections keep breaking. So let me ask you directly, if the people with everything are starving for authenticity, what does that say about the way most relationships are being built today? And more importantly, what does it say about the way you're building yours? We live in a culture that worships appearances and outcomes, but neglects the invisible foundations of love. The hot girl is told her looks are her currency. The rich man is told his bank account is his worth. So what happens? They build identities on fragile ground. And when your entire value is tied to something external, your beauty, your money, you stop asking the deeper question: am I lovable without it? That single doubt destroys more relationships than cheating ever could. For a beautiful woman, aging is a ticking clock. Every wrinkle whispers, you are losing your power. Every younger face in the room feels like a threat. How can she truly believe a man loves her for her soul when she knows the world praises her for her surface? And for the wealthy man, every business deal, every financial gain becomes not just success, but survival. Because he knows if he falls, the women who smiled at him today might not be there tomorrow. That's not love. That's performance. And performance is exhausting. Here's the part no one wants to admit. When you've been conditioned to perform, you never feel safe to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is the birthplace of intimacy. Without it, all you have are temporary exchanges dressed up as relationships. That's why the hot girl smiles at parties but cries alone in silence. That's why the rich man laughs at dinners but drinks himself numb at midnight. They are starving, not for admiration, but for someone who sees the cracks in their armor and still chooses to stay. But let me ask you, aren't you guilty of the same? How many times have you hidden your flaws because you feared rejection? How many times have you tried to impress instead of reveal? Don't pretend it's only the rich or the beautiful who wear masks. You wear them too. And those masks may protect you from judgment, but they also protect you from love. So here's the real question you must face. Are you building a life where people love the mask you show or the soul you hide? Because if it's the mask, then you're no different from the hot girl or the rich man. You may not sit on their throne, but you're trapped in the same prison. And the key out has nothing to do with looks or money. It has everything to do with truth. The irony of it all is this: the people who are most desired are often the least believed. When a hot girl says, "I feel lonely," people roll their eyes. When a rich man admits, "I can't trust anyone," people laugh and call it a rich man's problem. Their pain is invalidated because everyone assumes beauty and wealth are shields against suffering. But in truth, they are magnifiers. They amplify the hollowness, the suspicion, the fear that every touch, every word, every smile might be counterfeit. And that disbelief makes them even more isolated. Imagine bleeding and being told you're not allowed to hurt. That's their reality. You see, love requires risk. It requires opening your heart with no guarantee of safety. But for the beautiful and the wealthy, the cost of risk feels unbearable. One betrayal can confirm every suspicion they've ever had, that no one will ever love them for who they are. So instead of gambling, they retreat. They protect their hearts behind walls of sarcasm, casual flings, endless distractions. They'd rather be lonely on their terms than broken on someone else's. And the world misreads this as arrogance, when in truth, it's defense. But here's where you come in. The reason you envy them is because you've been sold the lie that beauty and wealth guarantee happiness. You think if you had what they had, your pain would vanish. But if you look closely, their lives prove the opposite. What they show you on social media is a performance. What they live in the dark is the same emptiness you're trying to escape. The difference is, they've already reached the top and discovered the prize is hollow. You're still climbing, thinking there's treasure waiting for you. And here's the brutal wake-up call. If you can't build connection, authenticity, and trust at your level, having more money or more looks won't magically create them. In fact, it will make it harder, because you'll attract more people chasing the wrong reasons, and you'll be forced to question every smile. The truth is, beauty and wealth magnify what you already are. If you're insecure, you'll feel even more insecure. If you're lonely, you'll feel even lonelier. So let me ask you, if everything external was stripped away, would you still be someone worth loving? Because until you can answer yes, you'll always be chasing relationships that collapse the moment the mask falls off. There's a cruel cycle at play, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. For the hot girl, attention becomes addictive. Every like, every DM, every stare in public feeds her ego, but it also raises the bar. Suddenly, genuine interest feels too quiet compared to the noise of validation. Real love doesn't flood your notifications. It whispers in private. But she's been conditioned to crave the raw, not the whisper. So when a man offers authenticity instead of obsession, she doubts it, rejects it, or simply can't feel it. That's how she stays single, chasing the high of attention while starving for real connection. For the rich man, the cycle is just as brutal. He builds wealth to feel safe, to command respect, to attract the life he thinks he deserves. But with every dollar he earns, paranoia grows. Who can he trust? Who is here for him? And who is here for what he provides? Even if a woman truly loves him, his suspicion poisons the relationship. He pushes her away before she gets the chance to prove herself. And in the end, he sits alone, surrounded by assets, but bankrupt in intimacy. Now, here's the twist most men watching this miss. These cycles don't just apply to the rich or the beautiful, they apply to you. How many times have you ignored a woman who genuinely liked you because she wasn't your type? How many times have you sabotaged something real because you were too busy chasing someone unattainable? How many times have you doubted a woman's intentions because you feared being used? Those aren't isolated mistakes. They're the same cycles, just scaled down. And if you don't break them now, you'll live the same story, just without the Instagram followers or the mansion. The truth is, the world trains us to seek validation, not connection, to chase status, not substance. And the more you build your life on those illusions, the harder it becomes to recognize real love when it finally knocks. You'll mistake peace for boredom. You'll mistake drama for passion. And you'll walk away from the very thing you claim you're searching for. That's why so many men sabotage themselves without even knowing it. So ask yourself this: when love finally shows up, will you even recognize it? Or will you dismiss it because it doesn't look like the fantasy you've been programmed to chase? Let's cut through the noise. The reason hot girls and rich men stay single isn't luck, fate, or some cosmic joke. It's because they built their value on things that cannot carry the weight of love. And here's the uncomfortable truth: so have you. Maybe not with millions in the bank or a model's face, but in your own way, you've been chasing the same fragile validation. You think if you just look better, make more, gain status, then love will find you. But love doesn't work that way. Love isn't attracted to your performance, it's attracted to your essence. And until you find the courage to reveal that essence, you will keep playing the same empty game. Think about it. How often do you walk into a date trying to impress instead of connect? How often do you hide your fears because you think they'll make you look weak? How often do you exaggerate your achievements, your lifestyle, your confidence, because you believe that's what women want? Every time you do this, you're not creating attraction, you're building a mask. And masks might win attention, but they never win devotion. The moment you start pretending, you're already setting yourself up for loneliness. Here's what men need to hear. Women are not starving for perfection. They're starving for presence. They don't need you to be flawless, but they need you to be real. Vulnerability feels risky, but it's the only currency that buys trust. And if you're unwilling to risk showing your authentic self, then you're already choosing the same prison the hot girl and the rich man live in. The only difference is you don't have their spotlight to distract you from it. And this is why so many men blame women, or society, or dating culture, instead of looking in the mirror. The truth is brutal, but freeing. You cannot demand authenticity from others if you refuse to practice it yourself. If you want a woman who chooses you for who you are, then you have to be willing to show her who you are, without the filters, without the masks, without the performance. Because real love doesn't live in perfection. It lives in imperfection, in honesty, in the willingness to be seen when you feel most unworthy. So I'll ask you directly, are you brave enough to be seen for who you really are, even if it costs you the fantasy you've been clinging to? Because that answer will decide the quality of every relationship in your future. So here's the truth you were never supposed to hear. Beauty and wealth are not the final prizes. They are illusions, shiny distractions that trick men into chasing shadows instead of substance. That's why hot girls and rich men, for all their advantages, often end up in the same lonely place as the man who feels invisible at the bar or the man grinding paychecks just to get by. Because love doesn't bend to money. It doesn't bow to beauty. Love only bows to truth. And the tragedy is, most people never dare to live in truth. The woman who hides behind her looks, the man who hides behind his wealth, and you, yes you, who hide behind your own performance, are all playing the same game, pretending, hoping, fearing. And in the process, you're missing the one thing that could actually set you free: authenticity. When you stop chasing validation, you start attracting loyalty. When you stop performing, you start connecting. And when you stop hiding, you finally give someone the chance to love you, not the mask you wear, but the man you are. But here's the cost. It requires courage. Courage to risk rejection. Courage to face the possibility that not everyone will choose you. And courage to trust that the ones who do will be worth more than 1 million admirers who only wanted your surface. That courage is rare. That's why real love is rare. That's why most men never experience it. And that's why the beautiful and the wealthy, for all their advantages, still end up alone. Because without courage, you will always settle for attention instead of intimacy. So I'll leave you with this. If everything you rely on to attract others was stripped away tomorrow, no looks, no money, no status, would you still be someone worth staying for? Think about that. Sit with it. Because the answer will not just reveal who you are, it will predict whether you spend your life building connection or your life building walls. Now, I want to hear from you. Be honest in the comments. Do you believe most people would love you for who you are or for what you provide? Your answer might shock you. And if this video shook something inside you, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and share this with a friend who needs to hear the truth before it's too late.